Let's talk about this game coming up. Where's the scenario where the Niners win this game against the Seahawks?
Elijah Mitchell and Norman, they both play. Even if Norman doesn't play, I could see a scenario where they win. I think Elijah Mitchell is, just for this scheme, he is the better running back than Sermon when paired with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think now you've got a two running back rotation. You don't have to rely on Juszczyk to run the ball a ton, and you don't have to get gimmicky. You don't have to bring in, Trey Lance necessarily to run the ball, hand it to Debo, what have you. I feel like they can actually run the ball a little bit better with Mitchell and play a little bit of keep away. And I also think that they can expose these cornerbacks. I think that those cornerbacks, if anybody has a weaker cornerback position than for the 49ers right now, it might be the Seattle Seahawks. So Debo, Ayuk, Sherfield, Sanu, everybody, you got to be ready. And Kyle's got to get out of his own way and start calling some shot plays.
The Seahawks have a crap defense.
They do.
It's not good.
No.
And the Niners need to light it up to have a chance, because the Seahawks are probably going to light them up. And, I asked Kyle Shanahan today about when you use Trey Lance, and he's like, it's all about the upcoming game and that, game planning and what I need to win that game. Well, the last time we saw Jimmy Garoppolo against the Seahawks, he freaking stunk. And I think the problem is when Jimmy Garoppolo goes against an opponent more and more times, they get a feel for what he does and doesn't do well. Maybe that's why he sucks so much in training camp. It's like, well, we know what you do and you don't do. And the Seahawks, that's a divisional opponent that know his tendencies. They know exactly what part of the field to take away, and they're good at it. So if the Niners want to win this game against the Seahawks, it would be a great time for Kyle Shanahan to get the urge to feel like maybe Trey Lance, the mystery of him, the curveballness of him could really help against a divisional opponent that knows everything we freaking do before we do it. I think if the Niners beat the Seahawks, Lance needs to play more. This is a great week for him to keep the Seahawks on their heels, because if it's just Jimmy, I think they'll tee off. I think they know exactly what to do against Jimmy. No, and that's no offense, and that's nothing against Jimmy. It's just like, how I love Nick Mullins? In spite of his weaknesses, it's the same thing. I mean, Jimmy is a rich man's Nick Mullins, literally. And you can admire him for playing within his weaknesses, but they're stark.
Oh yeah, absolutely they are. Where the hell's Ross Dwelly? Is he even on this team anymore?
I would like to see him. He's a hell of a player.
He is a hell of a player. Can I tell you real quick where the 49ers messed up last week? They could have played Trey for the whole second half. And if they had done that, they also could have gone back to Jimmy starting this week, and there would have been no fuss made about it. Once you start Trey, you have to stick with Trey. However, if the offense is struggling and you put Trey Lance in for that whole second half just to see what you had, you easily could have sold that to everybody as, listen, the offense was struggling. A lot like they did with Miami last year when Jimmy was in. The offense was struggling. I just wanted to see if he could give us a spark. We felt like it was kind of out of hand there. And so we wanted to go with the kid to see what he had.
Matt Barrows asked him today, Kyle, why aren't you inserting Trey Lance when you need a spark? And Kyle's like, because we don't have a quarterback competition right now. I think he's I don't know why, but he's like, if I bring in Trey Lance when Jimmy's struggling, it'll make it seem like it's a quarterback competition, and I don't want the media and the fans to force my hand.
Okay.
So he's trying to insert Trey Lance not when he's desperate, but we're at the 1 yard line and it's advantageous to us, but I don't have to.
Fourth and goal with 0 points scored seems pretty desperate.
It's a fair question from Barrows.
Yeah, it's a great question.
You have no offense back-to-back weeks. Why not bring in a new element to create a spark? And what he said was, we don't have a quarterback competition. I don't know what exactly the phrase was, but he's trying to avoid a quarterback controversy. And he knows if Jimmy's struggling for a couple of drives and he brings in Trey Lance, well, that's a referendum on Jimmy, and he's not trying to do that. I don't know why.
If it happens again this week, Grant, where they can't score and Seattle jumps on them, the crowd is going to lose their mind. It's going to be Trey Lance chants all over the stadium, and I'm curious to see how he deals with that.